Hello, hello. When last we left our band of adventurers, Leldarin had retreated into the depths of the heart of the mountain in order to study druidic techniques, as he is not but a young neophyte druid, not fully versed in the ways of his ancient order. And we had been tasked with expelling all of the Teutons from all of the various villages in the area with wonderful, strange names like Mompunt and Ruthavok and Remichik. Remichik, yes. I think that we'll start with. Let's see. Da, da, da. Well, we only need to get new spearmen if any of them die. I think we're at the limit of soldiers. Um, let's start with the Teuton camp, unnamed Teuton camp in yellow. I have a feeling that because um, they're specifically showing the tents, um, instead of various Gaulish villages that the Teutons have occupied, that I feel that we'll actually get to see the Teuton archers, which are very dark and malevolent looking, and one of my favorite units in this game aesthetically. I'm currently in the middle of Mountain Dew Voltage, the blue kind, the best soda. Because I am, after all, technically an Appalachian, and they love their Mountain Dew. Yuck. Well, the Adirondack Mountains of New York State, where I am from, are technically not the Appalachian Mountains because there's an area of flat farmland in between them and the real Appalachian Mountains, which start in far southwestern New York near the city of Binghamton. So technically not an Appalachian, but almost. And in fact, the mountain range of the Adirondack Mountains of New York goes all the way to Quebec, I think. Yeah, it's the best soda, Mountain Dew, and especially Mountain Dew Voltage. I've only had a couple of alcoholic drinks in my life. Um, one of them was I attempted to make mulled wine, but then I realized that my stove was broken, so I couldn't heat up all the ingredients, all the lemon and oranges and cinnamon and cloves. So I just poured a bunch of juice into this red wine that was very cheap, I might add. Uh, I poured a bunch of ingredients and diluted it like hell, so I didn't feel at all buzzed, even though I drank the whole bottle, even though I drank it very slowly, maybe over the course of a couple of days. So that probably also contributed to my not feeling drunk. Oh, holy shit. The pathfinding is a little screwy on these guys. It took them a while to realize that they needed to be attacking me. They walked all the way back behind me before they started attacking. Huh. They don't seem to... That tower is probably from Rutherhawk. Yeah, I don't see any blue villages on this map. I guess the blue must be defending the red. But yeah, so there's the malt wine, which was pretty good, although very diluted. I drank a single sip of Bavarian wheat beer, Hefeweizen, at P.F. Chang's in Austin, Texas, because I wanted to drink this particular brand of Hefeweizen because it was very highly recommended to me. Over many years, just learning about different types of beer, and especially European beer, which I am very interested in the different categories of traditional European alcohol you can find. Ah, there's a lot of horses. We might actually die, or at least be heavily wounded from this battle. Um, I took 2 sips of the Hefeweizen and hated it. Weinstefaner Hefeweizen, thought to be the oldest brewery in, at least in Europe, if not the world. And then I had a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale because it was my absolute first drink, and I just wanted something, anything, for a Super Bowl party that we had planned, me and my roommates, and it was not very good. I couldn't tell you if it was any better than the Weinstefaner, because I don't, I can't distinguish any different tastes in that regard. But perhaps I am a wine man at heart. I don't know. I'll have to try more red wine, and then I want to try Riesling, which is a white wine, I believe. Famous German white wine. Oh yeah, these are the Teuton horse archers. Look at that unit card there, the portrait. Isn't that cool? Isn't that dark hooded cloak? It looks like a freaking supervillain. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, love the archers, man. But as I alluded to before, you can't play as the Teutons necessarily. You just capture like what sounds to like mercenary camps. I don't know if any of y'all have played Warcraft 3. If you remember mercenary camps, where you go out and capture little encampments of NPCs, fight off some NPC enemy units, and then you can train their units. Wow, that was easy. And the food mechanic is working in my favor. No one's starting to lose health from food. Hmm. But yeah, um, I didn't like the Sierra Nevada, and I chose Sierra Nevada because while I knew that there were fancy craft beers that were certainly more befitting of my, pretentious bohemian aristocratic um, conception of myself. I knew that they had a lot of hops, so that they were sort of considered to be sort of impenetrable by beginners. So I chose what seemed to me to be the most patrician of all macro brews, which is Sierra Nevada. Um, I'm sure, there's plenty of people that would dispute that. Americans in my among my viewers, but that's the impression that I got in comparison with Bud Light, um, Miller Lite, Natural Light, etc., Blue Moon, that Sierra Nevada was considered the best among true beer aficionados. But we'll have to see what happens in July, because in July the coronavirus lockdown is due to finally be lifted. Um, and I'm thinking about trying uh, cider, or hard cider, as the Americans uh, insist on calling it. Of course, in England and France, when they say cider, they mean hard cider. Um, Whereas in America, cider by itself is non-alcoholic apple cider, either filtered or unfiltered. I feel like most people buy it unfiltered, even though it looks very nice and aesthetic when it is filtered. And it's a great drink. It's tangy and refreshing and healthful drink. But I thought to myself, well, I can't drink any alcoholic cider if it's not made by a old bearded farmer guy in southwestern England. But I did find Strongbow, which is a commercially mass-produced British cider brand. So that'll be fun to try when I have a party with my friends when the lockdown lifts. Let's take a look at this Teuton camp here. We've got some tents here that are just for show, and this thing, the Mac Daddy. If you've been paying attention, you'll notice that we've got some units in here that are in my color, and the number of units keeps increasing. And that's basically how this works. I don't think I've played any RTS game where you have the mercenary camp and the units that are inside of it just spawn randomly. As you're seeing right in front of your eyes here, as opposed to you having to spend resources to train them. So now we actually have some Teuton soldiers that are spawning. Well, now we have more ranged troops, which is always good. And I can attach them. And now they're all attached except for two of them, because we have just 2 extra soldiers. Hold on. So the Teutons do have the food mechanic working against them. I think, the programmers made sure to program the specific units that you started with as being immune for the food mechanic, but then they forgot to program, all the other uh, units that can come and fight for you. I wonder if